puppy. And she's been up since like, I don't know, 3 or 4 o'clock this morning. She's just been running. Yesterday was, I guess, the calm before the storm. I don't know. But she's finally down for a nap. Yay! She woke up this morning. I felt her nuzzling around. She got out of her bed and came and nuzzled around my neck. And I wake up. I'm like, oh, she moves. I'm checking the bed, making sure there's no pee in here. And I'm like, she woke up. So I woke her back. She was nuzzled around my neck. I'm like, nope. I get up, put my slippers on, and go outside and put her in the wet grass. And she tinkles. But then we came back in here and she was fine, but she kept getting out of her bed. I guess it got a little too cold in here for her, even with her little blankie. She wanted to be around my neck, so that's where she ended up climbing to this morning. So it was kind of cute. I hope everybody's doing great this Manic Monday, but she literally, I was just on TikTok. I'll be downloading that video and putting that out there. It's only like a 23-minute video, but she was biting the crap. She wouldn't settle down, so you guys got her where she's now zonked out. She's like zonked out. Like zonked out. You know, so she's been a blessing, but we've only had one accident in the house, and that was this morning. I probably should have kept her outside a little longer, and that was like, I don't know, like in the last hour. I took her out and she peed, but she came in here and pooped. I'm like, really? No. So that, you know, she's on dry food, so it's not really that bad. It's like but still, no, wrong place. Wrong place. Anyways, I was just on there talking, about the trip that we had and everything like that, and I figured there have been some people that have been sending me emails. We haven't really talked about emails in a while or addressing the audience very much because I've been on the road. I've been on the road for a week. I've been exhausted. My head hasn't even, like, I'm just now starting, like, I feel like my bearings are finally starting to, I don't know. You guys get it. I've been kind of lost. And so I was thinking about this. We've been talking about these autistic programs, and one of our subscribers, I gotta stretch my legs out. Getting old. One of my subs was talking about, we're looking at facilities, and I know a lot of people have been working on getting the facilities called and stuff like that, but also churches. Apparently there's some churches out there, and somebody was reminding me that there was another true crime channel that was sharing information about a 14-year-old and how they believe he's in Lafayette, Tennessee, at a ministry being hidden. And I thought that was interesting. And so, that might open some other things up for us. I'm unsure. Good morning, GDF. It's nice to see you, Elser. Steffers is up in the house. Crystal, Pistols, Dennis, it's nice to see you. Is it Denise? Denise. I think I called you. I'm sorry, Denise. Good gracious. Don't mind me. It is Monday for me as well, guys. It is Monday for me as well, except I'm coming from complete, utter exhaustion. It's nice to see you, Steffers. Our whole country is mourning. So sad. He had little kids, so keep them in your prayers. All over a 93-day misdemeanor. I must have missed something. Steffers, we have 3 missing children here. I shared with you a while back, and they say might be with the Amish. Huh. This is starting to get concerning for me. Why are our children becoming prey where they're able to be hidden away? And in America, like, we've got laws to prevent things like this from happening. Why are they not being enforced? I think is the main issue here. Good morning, Della. It's nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. So I thought that was interesting and wanted to bring that up to everybody. So I've been talking to one of our gals here. She's been very, very helpful. You guys know her as Nola's Ma. And she does she's been sending me a lot of good stuff over the time we've been discussing this case. And this is really no different. I thought this was really well done. by Nola's mom. And it says, okay, well, let me get past that. This is more personal. I need to send this to you as well, especially since you're going to be in Tennessee. Well, I'm already out of Tennessee, but I'm going back to Tennessee at the end of the month. And maybe something that you might want to do, might want to look into, I think is what it. Seth may already be aware of all this, but I'm truly not sure because I have not heard anybody mention any of this stuff. So it's going through and I didn't think about this either, and I'm not going to go through the entire email, but it's about, what Kathy Bowersox had, what was her listing? What was she listing? What was she listing? What houses were vacant and available? This is something very interesting. It kind of brings us back. Remember when I was on the live last night, I was telling you guys that we have like this explosion, this house explosion, and right down the road is where these glasses were seen. Well, it appears that there was a house that was actually located and listed by Kathy in that area, and it looks like she had sold 2 other properties on that same road. So it's quite interesting that, this is an area, this Hutch Court is an area in Gallatin that Kathy Bowersox has a lot of contact in. And it just so happens that some of these glasses were found on that same or in that same area. I think it was actually on that same road. It might even have been, I don't even remember what house it was I know they have it marked. I've got to go back and look at it. But it was very close to that, in my opinion. And so then on top of all of this, guys, right down the road from this Hutch area is where that house exploded. Now, the house, they thought it was not a was intentionally set or done. But we don't know what that lady that lived in the house, what her her circumstances were. She might have been going through a divorce. It may have been her husband. I mean, for all we know, that did something like that. But this is like some weird, bizarre stuff. And I'm sorry, but Sumner County's got some weird things going on. It's kind of becoming hard not to feel like there's an underlining criminal element there. I mean, we got houses exploding in Gallatin. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Just saying. So I think it's very interesting, and this is not the first time that these glasses have been brought up. These glasses were brought up again when the news had come out about the explosion, and they're brought up again now that we're looking into Kathy Bowersox's background. These are the people that we feel may be responsible for something happening to Sebastian, at minimum, moving him somewhere. At minimum, moving him somewhere. It's quite odd for me. It's quite odd for me. Hi Betty, I'm with you. Why the kids are disappearing, and that's in that area. Yeah, and I'm kind of hesitant because I feel like there's this connection between. Like, I hear Don is going to be speaking. I don't know. There's just something weird. I keep hearing Don Wells' name being brought up. I don't know if it's rumor or not, but I feel like I hope Don Wells is not speaking to Chris Proudfoot. That would just put a whole nother level of weird on this case for me. There was a podcast done yesterday, 14-year-old missing father, possibly allegedly in a cult. Yeah, I read that. Yep, perfect. Yeah. Hey, Pete, it's nice to see you, my love. Good morning to Lila Bullhorn. It's nice to see you. Yeah, she's out. Ah! My hands have become chew toys, okay? They become chew toys. They're little sausages. I don't know. I give her everything. She still wants my hands. Did you get my email? To be honest with you, got a secret. If you just sent it, I haven't gotten to. I'm not sure. I'm going through some of them right now. But when I was on the road, I received a massive amount of emails that I didn't have an opportunity to read. So I will be getting through those. I keep saying I'm going to get through them, and it takes longer and longer to get through them. So I'm just working at it, and that's all I can do. Some of this stuff is probably outdated because it was from a week ago, But I'm trying. Super bizarre, right? Yep. Hey, Sasha, it's nice to see you. What are the odds I'm down south and an Amber Alert comes through from a block away? Oof. That's weird. Yes, all surrounding missing children, not adults. Yeah. Like Hawkins. Hey, Susie Sue, it's nice to see you, my love. The mannequin, the bag on the head. There's weird stuff going on there. I don't know what is going on. But I'm starting to have a problem with the lack of process of this law enforcement outfit. And again, it comes back to whether forensics are done. If forensics aren't done, they have this case up, and they need to get in there and get those forensics done immediately. Immediately. Every single ticking day, more of that forensics is going away. Katie already had the house cleaned. I keep wondering, did she have it cleaned because they did forensics? We don't know. I just would like somebody to tell us whether their forensics have been done so we can get off the topic. It's not going to taint the freaking case for the public to know whether law enforcement is doing their job. As a matter of fact, the public has a right to know whether law enforcement is doing their job. And it's getting frustrating. They're withholding information they don't need to withhold, but they don't give a shit. And much like the way they treat their public. I think everybody there needs to be fired. I mean, I'm sorry, I just do. I've said that from the beginning. Everybody keeps saying they're doing their job, they're doing this, they're doing that. Well, can you just have a press release saying, hey, this is what we've done? We've searched this many acres, we've had this many leads. I mean, just stupid shit that will make us calm down a little bit. I'm just saying. That's really kind of what I'm looking for here. Just something. Just something. Because I've never in my life dealt with a law enforcement. It feels like like everybody likes to try to find these excuses of why not to do their damn job. It's getting irritating. But hey, whatever. I mean, there's only going to be so much people are going to take. Sorry. And I've got a community there that doesn't give a shit about a boy, so I really don't care about them. There's a very few people that give a damn in that community. Very few. They do, I gotta tell you, they kick ass. The few that are out there fighting for this kid, they kick ass. But just this whole community, just they want to sweep it under the rug and stick their head in the sand. Like, you guys have money. You guys have no voice. Where's the alpha males and alpha females in that neighborhood? Or are all you guys just sucked it out of the brain that you guys have to be kind people to one another? Right? You got a missing kid. I think kindness at this point is out the window. We can be respectful, right? But somebody's got to help with this case. Or is anybody helping? Because it doesn't feel like they are. Not one neighbor has a sign in their yard about this kid. It's disgusting. That community with all that money makes me sick to my stomach. And if you live in there, I'm sorry. Not to be offensive. But that community, that's the first time I've ever walked into a community with a missing kid and I could not tell a child was missing. Usually parents of other children in communities, step up to the plate. They didn't even put ribbons up for this boy. They didn't even put ribbons up for this boy at the entrance. Nothing. All that money in that community and nothing for that boy. Sorry. Nothing. It made me sick. If you really want to know, and that's not just the Proudfoots. Let me just say that right now. So everybody in that community can hear my freaking message. Because that doesn't go to just Chris and Katie. That community appalled me. Appalled me. I was offended driving through that neighborhood. Offended. I'll say thank you, Southern Grammy. I think Sebastian will be found a few days after Faith returns home, not necessarily in a good way. Interesting. Well, I know law enforcement has a lot more than they're telling us, and they're not utilizing it for one bit. I'm telling you, the shit that I found, if they have one half of that, they ain't doing their damn job. I'm just going to tell you like that. And Nick Barris can tear me apart and say, armchair detectives, armchair detectives. I really don't give a shit. I know what I know. I know what law enforcement has to know. And I have to be a reasonable person to think that they have a lot more information than I could ever acquire. Yet here we are. Protests at the sheriff's office justice for Sebastian Rogers. Not just them. I'm ready to go to the state attorney's office. Make his life. He's the decision maker. So is that law enforcement. The DA can only do what law enforcement gives them. So, there may be something. Right? There may be something. But I think at this point, 5 months in, if I find out seriously there's no forensics done in that house, I think that should be absolutely 100% our next strategy. A protest at that sheriff's office. And finding out. And I will go through a deep dive. Actually, I need somebody that's in, you know what? E-Crimecast, Mr. and Mrs. E. That might be something that you guys do. Pool public records. I might have to help you guys with that. Because you guys are residents of that area. They try to block a lot of stuff unless I'm there in person, and that's on a good day. I can get some things, but they try to use we don't give people, I'm a taxpayer there. When I'm there in person, I'm a taxpayer. They can't deny me. But I think they have the rules that it has to be a resident of the state. In Hopkins County, they still released us, so it's really, they make it's at their discretion. So I know I could, but I know that I'm probably not going to be successful in Henderson because I haven't been successful with law enforcement or their whatever they call that thing going on there. So we'll see. And not only that, but I can absolutely tell that law enforcement has no idea what they're doing out there. I came in contact with law enforcement from Gallatin. I came in contact with Sumner County Sheriff's Department. I've came in contact with several different law enforcement bodies in the Sumner County area, and I can tell you that I was not really impressed with their performance. It seemed like a lot of people had to call people and ask questions because they didn't know what to do. And that's from Gallatin Police Department. I had I dealt with two different sheriffs there, and I can tell you they were they didn't know what their job was. They didn't know how to do their job without calling for permission or calling and asking somebody. It was hard for me to deal with it, because I deal with law enforcement everywhere I go, so I can evaluate, people that appear to know what the hell they're doing and people that they don't. It seems to me that they just throw a lot of uniforms on people that meet the minimum requirement, if you ask me. That's not who I'd like policing my community. Just a thought, the shadow in the window, has anyone thought maybe it was one of the camps that come in? Well, see, this is the problem I have. The Proudfoots are adamant that nobody came in their house. The Proudfoots are adamant nobody could come in their house. The Proudfoots are absolutely adamant that the house was locked up. So, in my opinion, the only person that could have access to the house is somebody in the family. Whatever that means. Oh, yeah, don't forget to go out there and put a thumbs up for this show. Also, let us know what your number is. Let us know where you're from, what the temperature is. It's nice and bright outside. I have a funny feeling we're going to have afternoon showers because this is Florida, and I mowed my yard before I left, and I came home, and my yard is overgrown. So I'm hoping the yard man comes by and needs money soon because I need my yard mowed. So we definitely have some issues over at the Bower Sox and some of the properties that Kathy sold, and it's kind of being still involved in this case with those glasses that everybody says did not belong to Sebastian. It just makes me wonder. One of our other, I haven't had a chance to read all of this, so I know that when Misty writes, she kind of breaks everything down. So I'm just going to read read this and see how you guys all think about it, because it says, I believe the reason why Chris was at work early is because he wanted to establish an alibi for that time, because he knew what Katie and his parents were doing and when they were doing it. So he went to make sure he had an alibi, so he went to work early, 5:30, to prove there wasn't enough time for him to drive back to work from his home when all the flashlight activity was taken place around his, it looks like, in my opinion, I don't know, his home. I think it was spelled wrong, at 10:30ish in the morning. I believe Terry was one of the folks with the flashlight, and Katie was the other person with the flashlight. And Kathy was was the getaway driver. Chris was biding his time, biding his time, waiting for. Hold on here, I just got lost. Waiting for time for him to leave to be seen at work at 5:30. The problem is nobody would have seen him hardly. He would have. That's the problem. I think that's what But you know what? The seat would have triggered. Maybe that's why he went up there to sleep. I don't know. I don't believe he was there. If he was there, people on the ground didn't know it. And then I believe that Chris retrieved Sebastian's remains from wherever Terry and Kathy put Sebastian that early morning during his 17-hour trip to supposedly go pick up and pack up the camper. I believe Chris was sure Sebastian wouldn't be found because there was no one to snitch on him, because he hasn't told anyone the real location where he put Sebastian. I believe Katie planned all this, and now whether anyone else knows she planned it or not, I don't know. She may very well be lying to Chris, Kathy, and Terry and telling them it was an accident, but I still believe she gave Sebastian extra sleep medicine and possibly believed she gave Sebastian, and possibly some other type of meds, and the meds took his life. Or she gave him extra SSLE, sclero meds, maybe she meant sleep meds, and possibly another type of medication to give him hell of a groggy and make him pretty much unable to fight back. She made it where she could handle him without giving her any issues, by not cooperating and physically fight her off of him. I think Katie did this to hurt Seth the best way she knew to hurt him unalive and take his son away from him. I believe she was jealous of Sebastian's bond with Seth. Seth may have even verbally expressed his love for his dad was greater than his love for his mom, him wanting to live with his dad over living with her. Those dates are extremely significant. That ain't no damn coincidence. She pulled this shit 8 years to the day when she filed for divorce, and Seth and her married for 8 years. Seth was Sebastian's primary parent for the first 8 years of his life. I don't believe Katie ever bonded with Sebastian. I think exactly what you do when it comes to how she feels about Sebastian. I believe she blames Seth for Sebastian's disability. I believe she wants unmedically needy, unspecial needs child. Katie Proudfoot is in absolute heaven being with Faith for the summer. And I believe that Katie will and gas that Katie will and has been helping Chris fight for custody of Faith, because she wanted to raise Faith. Katie wants a perfect normal child, aka not a defective child. And again, the defective child is how I feel Katie looks upon her son. I know people try to take my words and manipulate them and twist them up and turn them and churn them as much as possible. But at the end of the day, when I'm saying stuff like that, I'm speaking as I think Katie feels about her son. I believe she looked at her son as if he was defective. I don't believe God makes mistakes. You know, it was funny because years ago I had talked to a lady, and she had a Down syndrome child, and this was the child was being born in the 70s. You know, kind of like me. I was born in the late 70s. But the doctors back then didn't know a whole lot about Down syndrome. And so the recommendation for parents at that time, and maybe some parents know this out of their own personal experience, was to, terminate the pregnancy. And this lady absolutely thought that was absolutely appalling, to terminate her pregnancy because of this Down syndrome. And then she even asked the doctors, is this lethal? Is this, they just didn't have a whole lot of information. But for the better part, I don't think that they thought it was, something that was, the child was going to lose their life in, like, say, the first 6 months or something like that. And so this lady was telling me that they wanted her to terminate her pregnancy, and she absolutely refused to do so. And she gave birth to her child, and she says that was the best gift that she ever got from God. Her child was the perfect baby, the sweetest, smart. And she keeps thinking how many parents lost that right to that joy that she gets to have because they followed that advice. I don't know. I feel like she, at the end of the day, though, people love their children. I don't feel Katie truly loves her son. I don't think she ever knew what being a parent is all about. I don't think she ever had the maternal instinct because I think it was stolen from her when she was a kid. I think her whole life of who she could have been, a normal, emotionally normal person, and she just seems so cold, so cold. Getting back to this, where is it? Like she gave birth to. Katie is one, sick-ish, and she is dangerous. I do believe she's dangerous, and I believe she can be a danger to anybody. She is trained to KILL. I believe she and Chris are two peas in a pod. Chris is one sick-ish too, but Katie carried Sebastian for months. Ellie, how long? She gave birth to him, and then soon after, she ran away from Sebastian and let Seth deal with the special needy Sebastian. Katie allowed and probably encouraged Chris to use corporal punishment on Sebastian. Sorry, not sorry. Katie is a monster. She didn't fall far from the tree. Look at her mother, her sister. I would be surprised if Katie didn't. That's been brought up. That's been brought up. I don't want to say that just yet, but that has been brought up, Misty. So thank you for that. Again, very interesting perspective, and I believe in a lot of it. A lot of that perspective. I'm still bouncing around with some of the theories because it's not clear. If Chris was up in that, and you know what? To be honest with you, I don't think he was. I don't think he was. I really don't. I think somebody spread that rumor to help him out with his timeline, to make it appear that way, because some people on these streets do that. They do anything and everything to help the criminal. We talked about that a lot. There are certain channels that criminals run to because they're bully and hate channels, and they think that they can use their platforms to intimidate people, to help the criminal. So that's why they gravitate to those channels. This is the situation, but do I think he was there at 5:15? No, I don't. I don't think he tried to cover his alibi. I think somebody spread that rumor out to help him after the fact. That's what I truly believe. I think it would have been very noticeable for the people on the ground if some crane operator shows up hours before his job and climbs up the crane in the middle of the dark. I think it would be very noticeable. Because it's not really dark. I mean, it's not pitch black. You guys saw it at 5:30. It was pretty light. And they said that was before daylight savings time came in. So I don't know. It could have been pitch black out. Oh, actually, I think it was before daylight savings time. So it would have been, because daylight savings time goes forward an hour, so it gives you the extra light. So I think it would have been much darker. Or does it roll back? I think it rolls forward for daylight savings. I'm pretty sure it rolls forward for daylight savings. And in my opinion, you're right track of Gallatin or White House. I think he will be found come hunting season when the hunters come out. I don't know because 17 hours. I believe this child may not be I think, I don't know. I don't know. I hope so. I mean, we don't even want to think about that. I would like to find out that he's at a school or something like that, or was taken to a church or something, right? That's what we'd all look at this dog. She was out and I turned this and she fell out of the bed. She's so goofy. You're so goofy. For those that haven't met her, this is our beautiful Delilah. She is now our official. Look how tiny she is. She's just a little tiny thing. Look at that. Maybe we should hold her like that. She just woke up. She just passed out and she fell out of the bed. But it was just so funny how she was half out of the bed and half, and she was just sleeping. All right, go back to bed. There she is. Now she's comfy. She's comfy. She's a little camera shy. She's been rambunctious this morning. Where was I? Sorry, I didn't mean to just pause, but she was just doing some cute little stuff. Autistic kids can be really challenging. I used to be a nurse in an yeah, and that's the problem. We know that the challenges, well, I mean, I don't personally know, but I can tell you, I read a lot of emails from parents that have had children from nonverbal to highly functioning. A lot of the stories are similar. A lot of the stories are different. I do understand how difficult it is for parents, and they love their children, so they deal. They just deal with it. This is life. This is life for them, and they love their children that much to deal with them, and so they really, the therapy is very therapeutic for these kids, and especially helping them learn to control some of their impulses that are uncontrolled, such as their outbursts and things like that, and what triggers them and what helps them out, trigger the outbursts. And so one of the things is from all the parents is you just have to really remain calm. And I think we learned that from Seth, with the whole, tornado coming through Tennessee, where he described, I said, wow, I would have thought Sebastian would have had a meltdown with that. And he goes, there would have been no reason, because I kept calm. I kept calm. And if he's not seeing that I'm upset, or, this is okay, then he's not getting triggered. So, and that's one of the things that the parents have taught me is about, you gotta be, just remain calm no matter what, just remain calm. So it's just very hard for us to wrap our heads around how Katie and Chris can be so callous. And I think that is the best way to describe their behavior. It just doesn't appear, they just appear to be cold. If it's not Jade on the building site, Yogi Bear campsite areas, look there. Yes, we are. Thank you, Monica. We are going to be looking there. I've got, after finally visiting, I do have some areas. There is one area that is just, it's calling my name. I said it's calling my name. I said it was calling my name since I located it, and that was that area all around the Bower Sox property in Gallatin. This is where my issue comes in, because they left 2 days after Sebastian disappeared. We all kind of came unglued about it. We're like, wow, that's really weird. They passed it off as no big deal. This is just work. Terry had to go to work. He had to go to work in Alaska. And then we couple that with Chris leaving to go pick up the camper and having 17 hours. And me, I'm looking for comfortable places that Chris would be able to do stuff in a comfortable environment. And I'm thinking there's an empty house with a whole bunch of trees and a huge plot of, just areas that go for miles, right? Just right behind and to the side of the Bower Sox home. And that's when I looked at it. And I remember sending that over to Seth, and he said his people were in there. They've had, even the pond was searched in there. He's had it. But I looked at that property, and I don't know if they would have had the manpower to do that whole entire area. I mean, Chris could have literally got in his car and drove the power lines all the way down for miles. For miles. And so I'm looking at it like, this is it. He had that house empty. His mom and his stepdad weren't there. They have plausible deniability. They didn't know what went on. And he's got an exit strategy right out the back, out of the backyard. You know, it's a little hard for me to discredit that area. And I don't care how many people searched it. It's still it's still, to me, a winner chicken dinner. I believe it's out there. Rodney from Australia, the stepbrother, also thinks he's capable and has a bad history. Yeah. I hope he's out of the trouble camp or school or something that's perfect, protects him. But you would think they would have already reached out to media if exactly. And not only that, criminal, we're working on trying to get people to call into the autism centers and just have them look at Sebastian's face, and if they happen to have somebody that meets that description in their care, to reach out to TBI. But unfortunately, was he verbal? Yes. KJR, he was verbal. He was actually a highly functioning autistic boy. So from my understanding, he was performing in the proper grade level for him, which was really weird because we got mixed information from Katie, basically saying that he's 15-year-old, but he acts much, much younger than his age. And it's like, when we hear stuff like that, we're thinking that it's like a 6-year-old trapped in a 15-year-old body, when we hear language, that's what that's what our brains think. And then we find out that he's performing with his grade level. It's like, we were so confused about who Sebastian was at the beginning. And it was because of the way Chris and Katie described him to us. Yeah, she said he was highly functioning, but for the majority of the people out here, we don't know what that truly means, And so when we're listening to them talk, and her talking about how he's, he acts much, much younger than his age, because he's got these, goes through this stuff. I mean, you're thinking that he probably isn't performing with his class. He's probably either in a slow learning disability type of class, or he is a slow learning disability type of class, or he's just in a much younger class or something like that, that fits his age, not his age, but his, I don't know. You guys know what I'm trying to say. The words aren't coming out right. I don't know. I can't express it any better than that. So Gypsy, it's nice to see you. I have Seth's first interview clip that he says Ellie had dogs in and out of the house. Chris was at work all week. Dogs hit and looked like he went in a car. They took their phones and interviewed them. KP and CP did hang flyers and lawn signs. They did have lawn signs. They went out one day with Seth until it seemed like it was just him and Chris. Again, I don't know. I do appreciate that. We do know that I don't know about hanging flyers, but I do know that Chris and Seth had said that Chris went out with him at least one time to search. But basically, this is the issue. Chris wanted it to stay contained. He wanted to make sure, like literally hours when news crews were showing up to their house, he wanted to make sure that he was doing damage control the entire time. He wanted to make sure that the cameras weren't focusing on his house. He wanted to make sure him and his family had no attachment to this missing kid in the eyes of media. They didn't want to come out and say that it was their kid. They didn't want anybody knowing that this child disappeared from their home. He wanted to contain, and that's what he had been trying to do until social media got involved. And when social media got involved, this case went viral. And now social media is involved in this case, and media doesn't want anything to do with this case. Why? Because it's a crazy case. Because news aren't advocates, okay? They don't really give a shit about what happens to these cases. I have not found a news organization that really gives a damn about the cases that they cover on their news. I've never met one. Still looking, but haven't met one. We take these cases, we run with these types of cases, we make sure we're holding people accountable and law enforcement's feet to the fire because we have that power and we have that the numbers to do that. And this is for the true crime genre in and all of its own right, not the Bullhorn Betty channel. I want to make sure that that's clear. But we have the ability to make sure law enforcement are doing what they're doing. We're not stepping up to the plate. That's the problem. Social media is not stepping up to the plate. Right now, we would have, like, the docket would be, up the crawl of Sumner County pulling every type of public record request imaginable just to be the boil on the butt of them, to get some information and finding out what's going on. We haven't had any of that yet. We have everything is really messed up with this case, and the only person that's suffering for that is Sebastian and finding his whereabouts so we can have resolution, so we can move on. There's other cases out there that many of us, need to cover, but we have this case right here that needs resolution. We have a father that needs answers as to what happened to his son in the care of his ex-wife and her husband. So it sucks. It sucks. It's called a spectrum for a reason. One child finds overstimulating, another won't. My son, it's random and often surprises yeah, exactly. But for him, it sounds like the parents had a good understanding for him. It sounded like, according to Seth, that particular day was a little much. And that's his father. And I would say he would probably know more than anybody. Autism can be very challenging at times, especially during puberty, but can be the most rewarding too. Love them, treat them with respect and dignity. If your child has autism or not, they still are your child. Exactly. Couldn't said it better myself, Audrey. Thank you for that. It was said they didn't even know where he was autistic until he was 14, which was only a year ago. That is correct, Gwen. Because of his other disabilities, if you read, especially with his chromosome deletion syndrome, it's harder to find the underlying autism with that particular. I was reading a lot about it because I didn't quite understand the chromosome deletion syndrome, but I did do some work on it, and I did find out that is common. Actually, it's not his illness is uncommon. Right, the chromosome, his specific chromosome deletion is uncommon, but with the chromosome deletion, there's multiple variations of that. It is common to misdiagnose autism as well because of it, and I think that might have been what the situation was, is that he was misdiagnosed or only diagnosed with that because a lot of the autistic traits, from my understanding, and the chromosome deletion syndrome do have some possible similarities or similar behaviors, which is what masks that. So that was, but again, that's my understanding of what I've read. And it sounds like that. Now, people have to understand, this is one of the reasons why Seth was really angry, especially in California. A lot of people wanted to dog him and say, oh, he had outbursts for teachers and all this other stuff. If you guys listen to his story, he had those outbursts because he felt like they weren't educating him properly. They weren't giving him the proper therapies he needed. They were treating him like he was not, he couldn't perform. They were trying to teach this boy how to write an S when he knew the alphabet. You see what I'm saying? So I think Seth knew that his son might have had other issues undiagnosed, and why he was fighting so hard to have his son with proper care and proper education. That's been one of his biggest drumbeats, is the proper care and proper education. If you guys recall, he doesn't like the pharmaceutical route. He wants, if there's a way to handle his son naturally with natural remedies or over-the-counter, he would prefer that as opposed to having narcotics in his or other substances in his son's system. So, I mean, you can tell that he really does care about that. So it could have been misdiagnosed, but it could also explain why he was so disgruntled with doctors. His teacher said that he was so high functioning that you wouldn't know he had autism. There you go, Mr. E, Crimecast. You guys got that. So it was just really weird that Katie would talk to us at the beginning and describe her son as being highly functioning, but he's 15 but acts younger. I mean, when we think of that, we think of major cognitive disability, and that I think was intentional. Now that we're learning about Sebastian, I mean, I could hear some things when he talked about Aunt Melissa several years ago. It was the way he said it. But, in all fairness, it could have been from the voice, because guys have voice changes where they're going from like a young voice into their man voice. And that could have been what I heard, instead of, because it didn't sound right. Like, you could tell he had some, with the music and everything, it sounded like he had a weird speech pattern. But again, it was such a split second, I don't know. Whoop, sorry. You guys are falling because I was stretching my legs. So that's about it. You don't want to say hi to anybody? No? Okay. I'll let you stay cute. Give me just a second. I saw some things down here. Gypsy says, I can send it to you if you'd like. Just help me answer a lot of questions. It just may help answer a lot of questions. Just being neutral on my side, not abrasive. You can send it to bullhornbetty@gmail.com. bullhornbetty@gmail.com. Appreciate that. Oh, Sylvia, it's nice to see you. Body's Journey, nice to see you. I'm sure having the chromosome deletion, it wasn't uncommon. Yeah, exactly. That's what I understood when I was reading it, because I remember I even showed a video, and I think even the doctor explained how it's hard to decipher. It was that remember I told you we're going through the education. We've been talking about this case, and I know this is going to be the most boring video, but we needed to have the education. And it was talking about the Sebastian's brain and stuff like that. And people were like, I can't believe you said that, put that on a thumbnail. It's like, good gracious, go find something to be offended by. I swear. So it's not going to change what I do. It's not going to change. I don't get offended. People don't offend me, okay? It's like, if you're appalled by my behavior, then don't watch. It's a very simple solution to your problem, okay? But when you start making your problem my problem, I'll just go full force. I am stubborn. You're not going to tell me what to do. You're not going to intimidate me, and I will go full force. I will show you you're not going to do it, and I will make sure it's public so everybody can see you can't do it. I will put you in your place publicly, lawfully, and legally, and without the use of any type of violence. Just saying. Nor do I have to threaten violence. Just saying. All right, guys, that's what we have for right now. Let me see if I know we were doing some more emails, but that was a good email to kind of end on with Misty's. Make sure I've read so much. Okay. And there's just some more information about the stalking and the following. I just want to let you guys know that you guys, if you're not a licensed private investigator, following somebody around and watching them is highly unlawful. Okay, it's called stalking. You can't go and harass people. You can't threaten people and then start following them. That is without a doubt a major criminal violation. So I just want to make sure everybody out there understands the law, because people are violating the law on this platform. One person I'm already suing that was, of course, involved in this, in all of it. She always is. Every time you turn around, you hear at least one of two names always involved in everything that has to do with law being called on me. And they're utilizing law enforcement for some content. They're trying to get me arrested for content. And I want to make sure that that's notable here on this platform, that they are literally breaking the law, utilizing law enforcement resources. And now that I'm calling them out on it and actually have it, the proof is in the pudding, they're actually trying to tell their audience that I was the one that instigated this when I was doing nothing but working and staying out of everybody's way. And it is absolutely proven by my trip video. That is my trip. Okay? You didn't see any interviews on there. You didn't see me knocking on any doors. I stayed to myself. I stayed in my own lane, had no reason to be threatened by my life. I had no reason to be stalked, and I had no reason for law enforcement to have ever been called on me. And I'm going to keep bringing that and keep pounding that home until people get it, because I saw this disgusting troll. You know, these people, you guys stay away from them. And don't send me their shit, because if it's counterproductive for me, I don't want to watch it. I don't even look under the hood. When they talk shit about me, I don't even look at it. I don't want to know. Because everything that comes out of their mouth, they have no idea about. They don't know anything about this case. All they're doing is spreading around misinformation or reading news articles. None of it is their actual work. It's everybody else's work. So they're the furthest people with any breaking information on any type of case anywhere. So why would you watch them unless you enjoy them criticizing literally everybody and putting people's lives in danger? That's the only good purpose for supporting those channels. And how do you support those channels? Just by watching the video. You're putting money in that content creator's pocket. You need to think about that. You need to think about that. So anyways, guys, I hope you have a great day. Rock it out with your coffee beans out. We are here for Team Sebastian. We are breaking this case down from the front lines, boots on the ground, and we're going to continue to do this. We are going into the area of, now we've done our fact-finding trip. We have some areas to search. Now it's getting into those areas to search. So that's what I'll be working on for the next month until we get back out there. I plan on being back out there at the end of July and beginning of August. And we are going to be doing our searches out there where we can do our searches. Now I expect to have some more complications because we have people that are stalking me and want to see me dead. So I'm going to have to, obviously take different precautions. And I will tell anybody from this point forward that you dox my location, then you're obviously wanting to see bodily harm to me. I will no longer accept that. And I will start filing lawsuits to protect myself. I will start filing protective orders to protect myself, to make sure that these people stay away from me. If that's what it's going to take, we can have that all done within 2 weeks to 30 days before I even get there. And that is exactly what I plan to do if this kind of shenanigans keeps up. I have a right to move freely in this country. Nobody will stop me. And you don't have the right to sit there and make decisions for other people that you don't represent. You don't own the state of Tennessee. You don't own the state of Sumner County. You do not own Gallatin. You do not own Hendersonville. As a matter of fact, we the people do. And that's something everybody's going to have to get on board with and understand. Nothing's going to stop our mission. We're here to seek answers for Sebastian Rogers. We're here to have people held accountable at this point because something has happened. Whether he's still alive or not, it doesn't matter. Somebody did something that needs to be held accountable. And so now we're at this point. Now we're at this point. All right, guys, God bless. We'll see you soon. Rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe. But more importantly, please be kind to one another. God bless.